Star Wars Celebration Japan Day 1 is over, so let's talk about what happened. In this video, we're going to be covering the animation panel. It was the last big panel of the day that we went to. We're going to touch on Tales of the Jedi a bit, but the big focus is going to be Maul, Shadow Lord, because we did get an announcement of a new series.
So cool.
That was sick.
So cool.
It was awesome, the art style, everything. But before that, let's talk about Tales of the Jedi, because we did get to see one full episode. We're not going to spoil it. It comes out on May 4th. It's not far away.
It was an Asajj episode.
Yes.
We can say that.
It was the first Asajj episode, and I will say that it answers some questions that people who have read the books might have been having, especially after the Bad Batch. Mm-hmm. So... like in a very direct way that I was not expecting. I was very happy with how they went about that.
There were a lot of gasps, a lot of excited yelling from the crowd who were big Ventress fans and big book fans. So I think everyone will be really happy with that episode. The episode was good.
It was funny in a lot of ways, but like in a good, just Asajj quippy, how is she in this situation? Again, I don't want to dive too deep into it. I don't want to get into spoilers, but it was good. Our reaction to it was yay.
Yeah. And that's all dropping on May 4th. So it'll be out soon.
So that was like near the end of the panel, and we were like, oh, okay, well, that's probably all.
Yeah, they turned off the live stream and then they showed us that episode.
But then they were like, that's the present of Lucasfilm animation. It's right around the corner. What about the future? And so David W. Collins, the moderator, asked Athena Portillo, is there a character you would hypothetically want to cover in an animated series? And she was like, I don't want to talk about it. Why don't we just show them? And we got a full-on trailer.
That was nuts. No, I don't think anyone was expecting a full trailer for maybe like similar to Starfighter, maybe a title release.
That's all I was thinking of, like maybe some art.
Yeah.
But yeah, a full trailer. And you clocked it right away because the Lucasfilm logo was like red. And you were like, Maul.
It's Maul. Well, there were rumors swirling like a year or two ago about potentially a Maul animated series coming. My only thing that I'm really curious about is how many episodes is it?
I hope, and I'm going to assume for now, it'll be Bad Batch style, like 15, 16 episode seasons. That's my hope.
You think it'll be multiple seasons?
My hope? Yeah, that's my hope.
Yeah. I mean, that would be great, but...
So, they did not get into the story too much. There was some heist, and some criminals were talking about who could have pulled this off, and someone was like, well... There's that one guy. And that was kind of the build-up. And then you see, like, some feet step into frame, and it's like some clank,
heavy
clank.
Feet.
Got some real heavy feet.
Heavy metal
Steel-toed boots. Try steel-toed knees, my friend.
Yeah.
Maul walks into frame, and we see, like, a bit of this heist. He's got his lightsaber. There are Zabraks fighting alongside him with, like, heavy machine blasters, like rotary blasters. Lots of great action. The art style, it was Clone Wars, Bad Batch, Tales of... It like, the character model looked like Darth Maul from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But, like, heightened in this really painted... Which sometimes the Bad Batch also looked very painted, but, like, this was even more. And in a way that I thought it was just extreme and very good.
Yeah.
I thought it looked awesome.
I hate using the word gritty, but the art style felt a little more gritty, which makes sense for kind of a more dark-sided storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, the series does look dark and gritty.
Yeah.
It does. It seems like it's building off of the Bad Batch, where, the Clone Wars was introduced in '08, kind of aged up with its audience, and then the Bad Batch is just like, did you like the Clone Wars? Keep watching this. And now it's like, did you like the Bad Batch and the Clone Wars? Keep watching this.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about, like, this being more of a dark side leaning show, because in the past we've talked about, could they or would they do a show or a movie about a Sith? And it's like, Star Wars is all about hope, so you need something to balance the dark side, you need something light side, something hopeful. And I think that might be where our Twilight character comes in.
That'll be, I agree with you that it just felt very dark, oppressive, scary, which like I'm all for it. It looks great. But it looks like Maul's going to take on a new apprentice, which he just loves to do. This is like
he loves to send out those offers. And...
Yeah. Ezra didn't bite, but maybe this person will. So he reaches out to like this Twi'lek woman, and it looks like starts to train her. And you immediately got Talon vibes, and
I thought,
rightfully so.
I don't really know anything about Darth Talon's story, but I was like, she's a Twi'lek. She has a red lightsaber, unless that was Maul's.
I think that was Maul's, but
it seemed like there would definitely be story to be told there between the two of them and him trying to train her in the dark side. So I was like, maybe this is a way for them to tell a similar kind of story as Darth Talon. She didn't have the same markings. She wasn't like red and black.
She was more pink skinned, but I think that they might at the very least be kind of giving an homage to Darth Talon.
Yeah.
Mostly because there's that story of George Lucas.
They're friends.
Yeah, who saw Darth Talon, and there was like a Darth Maul statue and a Talon statue, and he put them next to each other and went, they're friends. And then the people who were like working, I think it was a video game, and they were like, well, she's from like a completely different era. And George is like, don't care.
I think that they're friends.
I'm George Lucas.
Yeah.
So then he had thoughts of Darth Talon being in episode 7 when he was working on his own treatments, and Darth Maul was also going to be in some of those ideas. So I could see this all coming together to be like, this isn't Darth Talon, but it kind of is.
Yeah. And I think this is smart to do a show about Maul. Not only is he obviously a fan favorite character, he's got a lot of juicy storytelling already about him, but it seems that we tend to do well with Star Wars storytelling where we know the start and we know the end. And we know that for Maul.
Yeah.
So I think this is a really good spot for a show.
But there are like some question marks surrounding how Maul like got to Malachor that one time and was left there. So maybe people
how
have
he
been...
got into Crimson Dawn.
Right. So I'm hopeful that this would be a multi-season story of like the once again rise and fall of Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Like he builds up Crimson Dawn and then eventually he's left on Malachor.
And nothing about the trailer made us think Crimson Dawn or Kira or anything like that. But if this is a season 1 of multiple seasons, we could get into some Kira stuff.
And like we know, like I've been bringing this up since the Clone Wars season 7, but there's a model for Dryden Voss. They made it. I know that's expensive to do, and it's just been sitting in a closet, a digital closet, waiting to be used. So pull that model back out, put him in this show. Like Crimson Dawn exists at this point, but we could see it become one of the major syndicates and then maybe see it fall apart as well.
Yeah.
We didn't mention, I guess I assume, everyone else would assume, but Sam Witwer is back.
Oh, yeah.
He came out on stage as the title was shown on screen, and kind of like his master, Sidious, came out after The Rise of Skywalker and said, roll it again.
Yeah, that was cool.
He said, play it again in his Maul voice.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun.
At first I thought it was Ray Park because we actually saw Ray Park while we were in line to get into a different panel, and he was just like being showed around the convention center, I guess. But
it would not surprise me to learn that he's also involved because he came back to help with like the choreography for season 7 of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So maybe he's going to be around to do some fighting against Marok.
Oh yeah.
He was in the trailer.
That's going to be neat because he was a cool villain design. We didn't know anything about him, and then like we had all these theories, and then suddenly he was gone. So it's cool to go back to him and see him fight Maul. see. Maybe we'll learn a little bit more about him. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a cool fight sequence.
I already have a theory that Maul will fight and kill Marok and then take his lightsaber, because he did have that Inquisitor lightsaber.
Oh, yeah.
And, we were guessing Marok may have already been dead and then revived by Night Sister magic. So maybe we'll see that.
Because, then when Marok is killed in Ahsoka, it's just green mist.
Yeah.
So
what's going on there?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Fun questions that can be answered. But yeah, I think it's a tough call between Starfighter and Maul Shadow Lord.
I think I'm more excited for the Maul show, but I love Ryan Gosling so much that I am really excited for Starfighter too.
Well, Shadow Lord comes out in 2026, so it's closer. We actually got to see something of it, which it was just so cool. Starfighter is, in theory, great in my head, but all we have is a title and a star and a director. It's 2 years away.
Right.
But now we're going to have a movie and an animated series in 2026. And maybe Ahsoka Season 2. So
that panel's tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll learn more about Ahsoka Season 2 hopefully tomorrow. What a great way to conclude that. That is the last bit of coverage that we had to talk about.
Now that it's fully dark outside and we've lost all of our natural light.
But that was just part of what happened on Friday at Star Wars Celebration. So we're going to be putting out more videos throughout the day. I'll put a playlist and I'll link to that so you can go check out all of our coverage covering all of the news and the announcements and just fun stuff that happened. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Blue Sky.
And consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.